Hello and welcome to this edition of The Verified with me, Mustafa Kedabu. Today I have Tabu Sarr, who also happens to be the first female candidate on this show, sadly. And
Oh,
we are here to talk about a subject matter which unfortunately would also be an indictment of this show. But today we're going to talk about cost of politics in the Gambia. And Tabu Sarr is the country director of Westminster Foundation for Democracy, and they work on all subject matters relating to governance, particularly parliamentary democracy. And so, Tabu, welcome to Be Verified.
thank you very much, Mustafa. I am pleased and honored to be part of this show, which I happen to be following all the time and have an interest in it. And of course, today I happen to be one of those that are participating in it. I'm really happy and look forward to an interesting discussion.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So, I mean, just recently, WFD financed a study which looked into cost of, should I say, our democracy, sort of how much money it generally would cost an average person to participate in politics. I mean, tell us a little bit about this.
Um, this study, as you said, was commissioned by my organization, Westminster Foundation for Democracy. Mm-hmm. And this came as a result of our previous 2024's program, in which we conducted a needs assessment to see which areas can we intervene. And as part of governance, in terms of representation, there is a process. Mm-hmm. And part of this came a very pertinent issue of how much does it cost to be elected as a parliamentarian or a president or a local government authority councillor. Mm-hmm. And looking at the parliament where we work, where we are housed, we saw that there is a need to look at the cost of politics, but then looking at the underrepresentation of women, persons with disabilities, and of course young people, we decided the cost of politics actually top up the needs assessment. And that was why we deem it fit to conduct this assessment, looking at it, to understand it better, to know what exactly, how much exactly those politics cost. But in an other way, we look at it for an accountability perspective as well, because what we have seen since we engage in public accountability processes, we saw that there is a need, there is some element of finance that gets into it. So we decided to conduct this study. It is the first of its kind, and looking at our elections, and you and I know that this is a political culture that we inherited since we became independent, and it is rising. And so 2026, 2027 electoral cycle is looming. So we decided to
find out how much
it costs.
Average it costs for an average.
Yes, so that we can sanitize our democracy.
What is the significance of was it just going to point out how much it costs an individual to be able to go into parliament, so that this individual prepares for it, or is it to show that there is a problem and we need to do something about it?
I think both. Okay. If preparing to go into representation, especially parliamentary representation, it comes with a cost. The study has revealed. But also, as I said earlier on, this is a political culture that we inherited. And you and I, you being in the media and I being part of civil society, being part of the coalition on elections, do observe from registration to nomination and then election day. And we know, you and I know that there is so much money that goes into these processes. And when we embarked in 2017 to renew democracy in the Gambia, we take note of how do we really organize our fragile democracy. How do we sanitize this democracy? And in terms of governance, which calls for participation, we realize that there is one segment of the society that are not represented. And so we decided to take on board that the elements that normally comes by when you do this research, such as the sociocultural norms, the literacy level, and so forth. But one main element that comes out very strong, and we all know that it undermines not only representation, but democracy, is finance. And it is associated.
And that's what I want us to spend a little bit more time on before we go to other matters. So, for example, if you look at it, the average Gambian always says we need a better representation, we need good National Assembly members. But then again, this study shows that there is also a huge burden on people who are contesting for political office to spend money. So in other words, if you don't have money, you are out of the race. And so the study says that many of the candidates believe that the more likely they are solving the people's economic needs, the higher the chances of winning political office. And so do you not think also this is creating a huge pressure on lawmakers and other people in elected offices? So that, because if you invest, you must also recover.
Exactly, because as the study has outlined, there are so many areas that money is involved, and the recognition of aspiring candidates, I call them, comes with a baggage from the stages that they get elected. But not only that, the burden is not to satisfy or be also patronage to those that sponsor you, but also personally. Some politicians, according to the research, do say that apart from all these sponsors coming here and there, and these networks, and of course affluent people, they also are burdened to take up loans from the informal sector, but also sell their assets.
The politicians. Yes, I know politicians who said that. Yeah.
Yes. So even if for a woman, looking at the economic earnings between men and women, we all know that women are found in the informal sector, and with the informal sector is only survival. Yeah. Whatever you get is survival. You don't have much even to save.
So the earning power of women is actually much less.
Yes. So therefore, yeah, if you don't have money, what the study reveals is that in our governance,
you cannot compete.
You cannot compete.
And so so not only some competent men kept out, but majority of competent women are also kept out.
Of course. And persons living with disabilities.
And the persons living, because persons living, a lot of them also don't have a very high earning.
And also the expectation of politicians within the society.
Yeah.
Because taking these loans do not only finance your politics, but then even your own survival. Because I can tell you, some politicians will tell you that if overdraft wasn't available, we will find it very hard
to contest.
And not only that, but even if you win elections and you go into to represent the public or represent the population, really, what the study says is that um, for you to look at the best needs or the welfare of the people, and why people vote you in, you won't, because there is somebody who sponsor you to get into parliament.
Yeah. So for example,
the interests.
So for example, the need to raise money makes you vulnerable
Very.
to lobbies and other businessmen who have interest in certain things to come in with their money so that they can control your decision making.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
So inadvertently, we're talking about also corruption.
That is why I said we looked at it from the accountability point of view, as well as the personal point of view, and also how people see our politicians. Because when the element of not seeing your politician to represent you effectively in parliament is missing. In this study, it's missing. Because your well, I vote for my National Assembly member or the president or my councillor for not only myself but for the community, for the welfare of the community, to at least give me services, social services that I need, and of course the community members need. What happens is that a politician goes into office with one sole objective, to satisfy those that finance you going into office, instead of those that votes. The votes that put you into office are always not taken into consideration.
But you know what I find interesting and quite ironical is that, of course, the average person is complaining that, okay, the businessmen should be out of politics. They shouldn't be financing and controlling politicians. But that average person is also going to the politician for survival. And so the politician has to give him money, and that money also has to come from somewhere. So the politician goes to the businessman, whom he promises some favors in return, and gets the money and comes to give to the average person. And that's
it's very interesting, because it's like in a circle. But what the recommendations, because that was a politician will not really know where to go to, what to do, who to satisfy, who not to satisfy. But to keep the politician in office, somebody has to fuel his campaign. Somebody has to fuel the needs for him to be recognized in society. But also, the politician goes back if he wins. And even if he doesn't win, he ends up paying so many loans, as I said. But if he wins and goes into office, wants to satisfy those that vote. Now the voting card comes in front of him or her. The ngentes, they contribute. The wedding ceremonies, they contribute. The funerals, anything that the gamos, anything that the community needs, they contribute.
They contribute.
And that money has to come from somewhere. So what we are saying now, for our democracy to be cleaned, the pressure that we put on politicians
needs to be reduced.
And the expectations, we need to really educate people that when you go into office, you are there to represent me effectively. And then I save my politician from being doing corrupt practices by going after people who have money, but also minimize the tendency to sponsor in your own interest by a rich person.
Because that would be against your interest at some point.
Of course. I mean, because what will happen is that interest of those that sponsor is really what my representative or anybody who goes into parliament will be the top of his or her agenda. And this is why also, by extension, when you look at the policies that are passed, the legislation that are passed in parliament, politicians are forced to either oppose, even though it doesn't. I know all legislations cannot satisfy everybody, but at least some element of satisfying the needs of people, or passing a law that really can benefit majority of the society. at least a politician can do that effectively and say, I serve my people. I went into parliament to serve my people.
That is if the person has no other considerations.
Exactly. So that is the idea that this research was conducted, so that we will know, we will unearth, investigate why our politicians act in a certain manner. Because they are pressurized. And that needs to change.
That's certainly.
Yes, if we want to
so
have good governance.
What is the alternative? Because, okay, before we come to the alternative, let's talk about the current state of affairs, because the current state of affairs is getting worse. It's not coming down. Because, for example, the National Assembly member, the study would say, and even before the study, we know there is a new elections bill which has taken the registration for National Assembly member, for example, from 150,000 from 5,000 to 150,000, and also the registration for the presidential candidate to 1 million.
Yeah. 2 million.
2 million, and so that's very expensive. I mean, ordinarily, for an average person.
Exactly, and that is where we come as an organization to say, okay, we investigate it, and we know that all these ceremonies that politicians do, or all this jamboree that politicians do, especially when it comes to elections, in terms of mobilization, in terms of entertainment, the media, the visibility, and many others, the hidden ones that were not mentioned. On top of it, whilst it is becoming very expensive, we have a new legislation that is passed that has raised the fees so high. So what this tells us is that the underrepresentation will continue
for women and for persons with disability.
Persons with disability, the young people, and even men.
Because it's a sort of a very tough environment where you need to make a lot of money and to survive.
Of course. And then what it tells us also is that those who have the power, the financial power. Yeah. So it really shows who can go to parliament, who can stand as a president, and who can stand as a local government.
Yeah, the ward council.
Because what the political parties support, the support that they get from is not really enough. So you have to really reach out to other
so
networks.
You have to lead it to the corporate world.
To get it. Yeah, and then when the corporate world gets into our politics or gets into our democracy, then it undermines the principles of democracy.
Yeah, so decision making goes into
the hands of those who have money.
Aristocracy.
Yes. So this is what the findings reveals. But also what it means is that we are getting into an era where money dictates how our policies are formulated, how our legislations are also developed and passed, considering that if they do not go the way that the networks, the interests of those that
interest groups,
then they won't be in
you will be out of office.
So this is
corporatocracy. It's interesting. The study says that in average, a political rally can cost up to around $185,000, and you have to hold a lot of political rallies to be able to win an election. I mean, even in the parliamentary elections, you have to, if you are Latrikunda ward, Latrikunda constituency, for example, you have to go to many places.
Of course.
So an average 185,000.
And even it can go up to 200,000 to 400,000, especially as the election reaches its climax, because you're expected as a and I know that this is this is the belief that that most people have, that my parliamentarian can go into office to represent me, not on the policies or the laws that are passed or debate on behalf of me, but then my politics, if I vote you into office, I expect some reward financially. So if I have any occasion, you need to be there. So what it is telling us is that our representatives are really under pressure.
Serious pressure.
Yeah, they are really
financially,
yes.
socially, and others.
And then, if you lose, it becomes worse because you are left with paying debts for a very long time. In the study, there was one interview that I was present, and a lady for that matter. She contested in 2021 National Assembly elections, 2021 or 2022. She said
it should be 2022.
2022. She said she's still paying
debt.
And that's how many years
emanating from the loans she is taking to contest.
And when she was asked that will she contest again, she said no.
Yeah, definitely.
She said no.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But even if you look at it, had she won the elections and go into parliament, it means a lot of money would still make a lot of
setbacks.
Yes, it will still be very relevant in every decision she has to make, because she has to pay money back to whoever she owed. Exactly.
And then even go to the extent of selling her assets just to pay the debt. Because remember that when you take a loan, and the loan comes with conditions, of course. So if you default, the interest rises, as well as the principal amount that you take.
But then you know what's interesting also? I mean, the parliament at the present level is again playing a fundamental role in commercializing further that same politics. That's killing the democracy.
Exactly.
Because in fact, they said part of the reason some of them said they passed the recent election bill was to avoid every Tom, Dick, and Harry to come into politics.
But even that, for me, I don't think that was the very reason. Yeah, for me, I think it's a political strategy that is used, but also amplifying what the study is saying, because the study is saying money has come into our governance, it has come into our democracy, and raising the fees also to so much, especially when politicians are having this along the way to representation, and then bringing in the law legislation which we all need to abide by. What are you telling us?
That's the Elections Act.
Yeah, that's the elections. Yeah, and it's passed. And I can tell you that the day that the election bill was being discussed, at the final stage, I was running behind politicians, telling them, please do not let this pass, especially that bit, because what it is going to do is you're going to amplify marginalization.
Yeah.
Many people who do not have the financial muscle will not be here. And the society consists of men and women.
Yeah. And majority poor.
People living with disability. And look at the earning of in this country.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my voice went unheard, and it's now. So now, I think what, as a person, as a citizen of this country, and recognizing that we are all Gambians, it is now with the president, and I'm sure the president will find it in his heart to look at it carefully before it becomes a law. If it becomes a law as well, people will still get elected. Sponsors.
Yeah,
sponsors will come, but then our politicians
will be controlled by corporate bodies.
Exactly. And then our democracy will remain undermined.
Now, if you look at the average person, so there seem to be two problems here. One, the people who want effective decision making from political leaders are relying on political leaders for a lot of favors that's taking them from their work, and they're also asking from them a lot of money. They're also asking from them a lot of social commitments. That seems to be the case, isn't it? And so, secondly, also the funds that you need to contest to be in that same office has also shoot up many 100%. And so therefore you needed also the corporate world to also give you both to satisfy your own electorates and to satisfy your electoral process. You need the corporate world to get there. And so this is what you meant by it's going to affect representation.
Exactly.
Interesting. So it says also that particularly the issue of National Assembly members, it says they consider being in the parliament more a burden than a reward.
Yeah. Yes, because as we're discussing now, most of they are my colleagues, they are my friends, my brothers, and with this research, it's like you're controlled at both ends. You're pressurized because you have to run to get money to satisfy your voters, and also the voters' expectations. You need to satisfy that as well, because they expect reward. Once they vote in for you, they expect reward from you, and also to support their families, because some politicians pay school fees. That's not the role of a politician. I think where
they
we
pay
need
school fees of electorates.
Of course. Where we need to draw the line is to educate the population that politicians or those who that represent you in these decision-making positions are there to serve the country, are there to serve your needs. And your needs are not only confined to having an occasion, a naming ceremony, and call you a politician. Of course, we know the society that we live in. We know that we are all one. But the body that is that politician shoulder, it's really too much. And I remember one politician telling me one time that really representative
democracy.
No, I just want to know political representation is very difficult in this country. And I'm sure he was talking out of the expectations that he has.
I know a minister who has who still does have people flock into his office on a daily basis, and they lined up and he has to see them.
Yeah. And then what happens is that what people fail to understand is that if you put a pressure on the person who's supposed to serve the country, will we get better services? No, we won't, because monies that are meant to serve the people can go the wrong way.
Can go the wrong way because he has to make money to satisfy.
Can go the wrong way.
And now,
not only that, but to hold your politician accountable or anybody in public office accountable becomes very difficult, because you contribute towards making that person corrupt. So now, if they are to debate on any policy or any legislation that he or she is going to pass, he will not do it in the interests of you and I. He will do it in the interest of somebody who has sponsored him. And then when that policy is passed or the legislation is passed, it comes back to affect you and I. And then we sit in a corner and complain. So in a way, really, it's a collective responsibility, and it's also a collective changing the mindsets of majority of the population, especially those that expect too much.
But also the lawmakers themselves changing their own mindsets. I mean, sort of, they are the ones who passed the Elections Act.
Of course, of course. So we all have to take the blame. At least all of us have a portion of the blame to make. But then it's a way of the way that I see it. It's a systemic problem.
It's a systematic problem. But then how do you get out of a problem like this? Because it does seem like we are the, I mean, if it was more expensive, it was expensive 2021, it's now more expensive.
In 2026.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to the study, it has actually assigned each stakeholder, each critical stakeholder, your responsibility. One I can take note of from the study is for civil society to educate, to raise awareness on the cost of politics and how it is affecting us as a country. And also the media to also take up responsibility to contribute to support the sensitization of everybody to understand that the politics that we inherit needs to change if we want to develop as a nation, because we are a third world country. We are not even a developing nation. We have not reached there yet, and we're still holding on to the culture that we inherit. It's not taking us anywhere. But then also for government to also look at the laws that are passed, because there is no ceiling on campaign financing. There is no ceiling on how much a politician or a political party can raise. It's not in our laws. We have not gotten there. So
or tough employment of illegal campaign financing.
Of course. So and also people themselves to know the rules of people that we put in office, to know their responsibilities, to know their limitations, to know that if a politician comes to you and tell you that I'll build a road, I'll bring water, I'll bring electricity, it's not the role of a politician. These are government responsibilities to make sure that services reach the people. What the politicians or what member of parliaments, parliamentarians can do is to make sure that a bill that comes to office is debated and it is in the best interest of everyone. I know no legislation, as I say, satisfy everybody. There are some legislations that comes that do not satisfy me, but I am part of a population. If the majority benefits from it, then that is the role of a politician. And not to limit the expectations, because if I come in person and you see me, that means that the politician recognizes that you are part of his constituency. You vote for him. So, as I said, everyone, political parties as well, because that is where the whole problem begins.
So, for example, if you look at it, could it, because in the last budget, the budget before last one, 2024 budget, there was a constituency development fund for the National Assembly members. I mean, they went into creating a fund for themselves that allows them to go and implement some small projects in their constituency. Could this have been, and ordinarily, of course, this is also not the job of the National Assembly, because they allocate the budget and account for the fund and how it's spent. You cannot be the spender and at the same time the accountability agent. But could it have been the pressure that they receiving from the committees that they needed to bring projects, they needed to bring, could it have been what led them to do this also?
Exactly, because these are the promises that they make when they are campaigning. So obviously, if they come into office to ensure that they are re-elected again, because with the National Assembly member, I think according to their standing orders or according to the law, if you go as a parliamentary member on 2 terms, then you receive that pension,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yeah.
So a parliamentary member really won't like to go in for one term.
Yes.
Because when you when you have the 2 terms, you're entitled, you receive your entitlement. Obviously, the campaign promises that you make, you have to fulfill it.
Yes.
And this is why that constituency financing fund came about. If you look at other countries, the constituency fund is mainly for parliamentarians, like in Ghana, parliamentarians to maintain their offices, because that's where their electorates come to visit. That's where they hold their meetings to engage with their electorates. But in the Gambia, it's a different thing. It is mainly used to bring projects, and many a times it's boreholes and those kind of things, access, which is not really the role of a parliamentarian. Yes, but also there is one thing that is very interesting that came out from the study, how parliamentarians are harassed as well.
How they are harassed.
And that was why when you talk about the constituency fund, I recall reading that if they do not fulfill those campaign promises, they are harassed.
Yeah, but they, I mean, also, perhaps also the part of the problem is a lot of folks come into the parliament who are very new to the system. They are teachers. They've never been in government before. So they didn't probably understand even the role of the parliament. So they went and said, well, if you bring me, I'll bring you water, I'll bring you schools, I'll bring you this and that. And then when they are in parliament, they realize this is not possible.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of folks come to parliament who are teachers.
Yeah. They're not prepared, and I think our parliamentarians really need to be prepared and to face the job. That is not only to of course you pass laws, but then you need to understand what this law is. You need to debate. You need to critically look at all bills that are brought to parliament, but also especially during the budget session, when ministries bring in their budgets, you really need to critically look at the budget to see that what is allocated benefits everyone.
Yes.
Especially from a gender, from a disability, from everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
Because this is the national cake.
Yeah, but they could have told the population that that's what our job is. Our job is not to go there and implement that. But our job is to now allocate you resources so that the government now, the executive goes to implement that.
And then to also, not only that, but also to monitor.
To monitor the implementation.
The implementation. Yeah. And then, do because that is their role. But I don't think this can be done during campaign. But that's not always the case. A different promise is made.
But do you not also think that there's also a lot of dishonesty in the sense that there are other people who are telling them, the National Assembly member, because I remember there are people who says, for example, in my native Mandinka, like he has never done anything here. So, and because they said he has never done anything here, and he's a National Assembly member, that sort of presupposes he should have done something here. And do you think that it's also out of a condition that was created by a certain misinformation campaign that a National Assembly member should do something here, and he hasn't done it? That's why they also took it upon themselves to do something.
Yeah, exactly. This is what goes on. This is what is going on with National Assembly members. But then, I think the honesty should begin whilst you are campaigning. That is why I said it's a systemic.
Well, honest people don't win campaigns.
Yeah, it's a systematic problem. Yeah. Now, if you, I know of a politician who has campaigned and won and has done the 2 terms. Yes, one was very honest
with them.
To us, to us, and start to tell us what their role is. By then I was within civil society. But then I said, you should have told us this when you were campaigning. I mean, you would not have get elected. But then this is it. So that is why I said it's the mindset of people as well. It's the role of civil society and all of us who are in this space to make sure that we educate the masses. If we want development, if we want a quick development, because this also retards
the work of because people are not doing the normal job they're supposed to be doing, or not doing it efficiently.
Yeah. And then it also undermines accountability as well.
So I mean, and there is a strong correlation between this particular practice, increased in cost of politics or cost of democracy, and illegal campaign financing. And so do you not think also that incumbents also have a tendency of exploiting it, so that they remain in power, because incumbents tend to have more access to other players than
yeah. What it tells us is that our democracy become monotonous, because I mean those in power or especially sitting governments have the machinery, have the power to leverage on. So really, what it means is that they stay into power for a very long time because they have it,
and they have business connections. They can award contracts to businessmen now funnel money into their politics, and
this is it. So the businessmen know where they put their money. I mean, during the study, there is one party leader who said that if he is to choose or to put up a candidate, he'll put up a winning candidate. And what does a winning candidate means? It's a candidate who can go lobby funds somewhere else and come and finance, contribute to the party, loyal to the party, because there are also costs that are there. Pay your fees, pay your dues to the party that represents you, because you're going to use that party's name, especially where you know that the party has a stronghold. So you need to pay to the party as well, and then pay to the electorates. So really, a political party will only select candidates that are winnable, not candidates that come from a very poor. I mean,
will not be selected.
You will not, and that really contributes to inequality and
sort of commercialized
discrimination,
commercialized politics. But one important thing it could also create, I mean, and if you disagree with this, you can let me know. Wouldn't it be that also, if you have if you commercialize politics, so in journalism we say, before you know people who limp how they feel, you have to break your leg. And so if you have a politics that only rich people can participate in, or only people with strong access to cash can participate in, couldn't that politics serve the everyday goal of the poor person?
I think that politics will only serve those that are rich, and the rich gets richer, and the poor gets poorer.
So I mean,
because what happened is that as I, when I was given a statement on this, I said, as in one of there is a saying that we say, kila abal butam, kila abal butam, fuko ne fufu nga hol.
That's true.
Yeah. If he or she tells you all right,
yes,
you all right.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. So this is what
that's happens. To say, he who pays the piper determines the tune of the music.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
So if a bill is before the parliament and it does not favor me, or it does not favor who sponsors me, I will not vote that bill, or I will criticize that bill. I will mobilize my colleagues, because it's not in the interest of my sponsor.
Well, and also there is something very fundamental that we could we could also explore, and that thing is, even it sort of has a chance of minimizing dissent, doesn't it? Because, for example, even within the political structures, if I am within a particular political party, and usually the head of the political party is the one who has to decide most of the things, and political parties are the ones that have access to that resources. So, for example, if I dissent with the president, fundamentally, there is chances that even if I am allowed to contest, he could not stop my contest. He could minimize fundings that comes my way.
Exactly. That is, which, as you said, it's very fundamental that it also minimize dissent.
Yeah.
And also oppose. I mean, if you oppose the president, if you oppose, well, whoever is in power, and he or she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, he can really.
He can make life difficult for you.
Create some obstacles for you to come forward.
Yeah.
And this is what is happening. Even in Senegal, this is what we're saying that is happening. Yeah.
So, I mean, let's talk about the issue of women. I mean, in the Gambia, I mean, it's in the parliament there are 5 women, right? There are 5, and out of that 5, how many were elected? 2, I think. Yeah, 2. Sana Mentreng and Tuma. And I mean, and women are 57% of the voter population, no?
And over 50% over 51% of the population as well.
It's quite a strange thing, isn't it?
Very.
Well, why do you think that's the case? Do you not think that maybe women themselves don't, or there's a cultural practice that turn women against themselves, sort of make women look at themselves as though they are not worthy of leadership?
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said earlier on, it's some sociocultural beliefs that women cannot be leaders, but also the woman to woman competition, or conflicts.
Yes.
And we call it in the gender equality spectrum, we call it pull her down syndrome.
Pull her down syndrome.
that exists.
That exists.
That exists. But more so, this study, what it reveals,
the money.
It's the money, because our politics is very expensive, and it's becoming more expensive.
Okay, so let's say we agree that the women also, they have very limited access to cash, but socially also the cost is huge, isn't it?
And the beliefs that society also, the constructed beliefs that society also put in place. I mean, with women, low representation is a structural issue. It's a systemic issue. It's an economic issue. Also, it's a cultural issue. So, trying to make sure that you eradicate this, for women to be adequately represented, we need a lot of education. But also, we need people to change their mind. Because, I mean, there are capable women who can occupy these positions and do an extremely good job. Because, I mean, with women, we always, I mean, notwithstanding, we always tend to say, I am being very biased here now, that when men think, they think with their head. And this research has shown that. But when women think, they think with their head and their hearts. Because why? Women are not alone. We reproduce.
Yeah.
And we take care of those people. So when we think, we don't think for ourselves only. We think for others.
Society.
For society. So that is why changing the mindset to allow women to be leaders, it's very critical in any country's development. And that is what democracy is all about. It's all about human rights. It's all about accountability. It's all about representation and participation. And that is needed for any country to develop. And we are short of that as a country.
So what do we do with the issue of women? I mean, because now you have a situation where you have to encourage more people to participate. And on another hand, you have a woman who is now telling you, I am not participating again because my experience is that I'm left with more debts instead of, I've not won an election, I'm still paying debt. And she must have been sharing experience with other women also.
And she's not the only one. She's not the only woman or the only one person living with disabilities. I think what we need to do with that, the study has revealed, political parties, which are a gateway to representation, has a big role to play. And the issue of having affirmative actions are now needed, especially with the amount of fees going up, together with other things that is already inherited in the selection process. You need affirmative actions. You really need, and the affirmative actions for politicians is not law. These are practices that political parties can take up. I come from Serekunda West. It's a strong UDP strong. It's a UDP stronghold. Please, a woman, because whatever the case, she will win.
She will win. We've seen experiences of a woman winning in Sanamento.
Correct. Serekunda
Even
Central.
Talending, a woman won in Talending. Fatu Jawara won in Talending.
Serekunda Central is a PDOIS stronghold. Place a woman. You don't need a law, because we've tried the law. It didn't work. It was thrown out again, which I had months, sleepless nights for a month.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but then you can come up with these initiatives. Now have a fun for women, even women themselves. We belong to CAFOs. We belong to all these money-making groups. So let's support our women. Let's support our member from that CAFO. And women can raise funds. With the 150, even though it has gone up. Even if the president said, okay, women can find money, not even borrowing, but with their own small groups, and raise those funds. Now, where the problem lies is that if you go into office, what next?
Yeah.
What can you do for the people that voted you in, that supported you? Because why this is needed is we want to sanitize our democracy.
Yeah.
Yes. So in these kind of initiatives should come up, but also our legal frameworks need to be looked into, because we need at least a campaign finance framework. It's sad that it's not in the Elections Act. There is nothing that was mentioned for campaign finance. Maybe if there was a provision for it, people can say, can we have a gender responsive campaign finance to look at women? Now with the legal framework, I'm sure it will come back. The women's bill will come back to have this affirmative action in Parliament. And I think with all these initiatives, it will be a progress for Gambia, but also the idea of, okay, women are underrepresented, people living with disabilities are underrepresented. I think it will be forgotten if we implement the recommendations from the study.
Eventually, this leaves us with we want a democracy that is going to pay and going to lift more people out of poverty. But what the study seems to show is that this is going to push us more into a state capture and not the other way around.
Exactly.
And so, aside from affirmative action for political parties for women, of course, we know a lot of women who are also coming up. They couldn't even get nominations from their own political parties. Significant number of them have to make choices to also go independent. And so in that kind of a situation, there is no affirmative action. And what can anyone do for such situations?
There is something that one can do, I think, and that's where this study comes very handy, because the political parties, especially the selection committees, where most of respondents, where most of the respondents in the study, and the objective of engaging them is because when decisions are made, they are the ones that made the decisions. To know that, to understand that with the many barriers, also there is this element that is hindering more women and young people and persons living with disabilities to be selected. And what we intend to do, we have now a dissemination plan, and we are going to engage the political parties more. I know being from a political party is very expensive, moreover being an independent. Because an independent, you don't expect to get money from the little support that comes from political parties. But not only that, but also belonging to a very big political party and wanting to stand in a constituency that is owned, I can say that is owned by the political party. Also, politicians take note of this, not only the money, but if I stand in a constituency which I know I'll get a secretary, they chose where to stand as well. The constituencies that they will stand, because they also know what they also have to know that what does it take for me to be elected. It's not only the money, but also you need the backing of the political parties. So if an independent candidate stands against you, obviously the independent candidate loses. Moreover, if it is a woman, looking at the society. But now, independent candidates as well. That is why the campaign finance is very important. And looking at the legal frame, the legislation that is recently passed, because that discourages not only women but even men who stand as independent candidates. So what is needed, because that also in that area you need a legal framework which is part of the system, because what it does, according to the if we take note of the research, is that it encourages corruption. It encourages people to go and get monies elsewhere to support you. And as we said, as when we were starting, you become very vulnerable. Because the big fish in the sea with the money can easily catch you. And then you go into parliament for them. And not for the people.
So the issue of matching grant that you guys have put as part of the recommendations, who is supposed to be the provider for that? If there's going to be a matching grant based on, because he said there should be a matching grant for people who prioritize, for political parties or entities who prioritize women and persons with disabilities, so that you can incentivize that. Who is supposed to do that?
I mean, the matching grant comes from the person who is standing, who's contesting. But also, the matching grant is also for to engage political parties to at least have a proportionate list of candidates. And that we are discussing with the IEC. And the IEC has actually come up with that, their gender unit, that they're coming up with this with this policy that if you have a number of candidates and X number of women and persons living with disabilities, then at least you'll be accepted. It's just like the system in Senegal. Political parties need to bring in list of candidates, but certain amount for them, it's 50% of the candidates should be women for them, because they have it in their law. But in the Gambia, The problem that we have is that we don't have it in the law. Even for the 30%, we don't have it in the law because it was thrown out. And that was why we were really mad, because what it could have done, it could have paved way for other policies to
so
fall
political
back.
party would have no choice.
Yeah, political parties will have to bring in certain number of women, certain number of persons with disabilities, and I think that is the why the marching grant was mentioned. It's supposed to be the money. At least if the 150,000 for National Assembly member, at least with government will come up. I see they're trying to see they will come up with at least, or government or political parties will come up with some amount of money, and then the individual candidate also will top it up. So it will not be wholly the amount will not be wholly rested on the on the candidates or the aspiring candidate, which I think is an initiative that can encourage representation, because the whole idea is to make sure that everybody is adequately represented. If not, at least a percentage, which is the international standard, 30% of representation should be, and not only in parliament but across the board, across the civil service, because that's the same laws that other countries have. It was passed in Sierra Leone not a while ago, and they have 40%, over 40% of representation in parliament and as well as their civil service.
I've kept you for too long, so I have only two questions before we conclude. The first one is, before we come to the cost, social cost, the first one is the issue of, it is saying that the partition politics in the Gambia is not driven by issues or ideological leaning and ideas and all of that, and so therefore it's sort of asking that that the relationship between parties and voters are redefined, so that people with merits could contest into elections, so that it becomes a battle of ideas. Do you think this would have given women more an opportunity, or it would disadvantage women even further if this comes into picture?
Well, I think that will disadvantage women, simply because women don't have. It's not that women don't what that statement is trying to explain, because I have read it as well, is that we don't practice politics of ideas. We only practice the politics who has come from this family
or that family,
and who has got more money to bring in than who really has the ideas to move and to contribute towards what will make life better for the population, for the citizens, or for your electorates. But I mean, we have seen, if you look at the political landscape, the actors that are there, you hardly find somebody from the lower cadre. It's always they used to be the people who will be who are the chiefs in this country, or the alcalos, especially in rural Gambia and in urban Gambia, who has more money, whose parents have supported many people due to wealth, those that come from affluent families. So because of not that, let's debate on ideas. Who's coming to say that community A and community B, the services, who is benefiting from the services more? KMC is a council. What services are they offering? Bassa Area Council is a council. What services are they offering? Are the people, are the citizens really given what they're supposed to get? Because they're paying taxes. Are we getting anything? Are we seeing anything from taxes that we pay? And then you debate. You get into town hall meetings. You engage your parliamentarian. It is of recent that civil society has initiated town hall meetings between parliamentarians and the electorates, so that they dialogue. They know what are the issues, which is, I think, is a laudable initiative, because at least you will hear from your electorates what their needs are. So if we engage in those type of politics, democracy thrive, because everybody will be given the opportunity to say whatever your needs are, and you will have, there'll be a platform for you to interact with your representative.
So finally, the issue of women, I mean, in the past, we've covered a number of women candidates. We started having our first potential presidential aspirant in 2017, 16, 17. And even though she never contested, but at least someone came out. And then, fast forward 2021 also, there was a repeat of a similar situation. And she never contested also, because I think she was unqualified on some basis. And in all of those circumstances, and even women who have also tried to contest at different other levels, councils, there have been a lot of insults, like, sort of people questioning your social life, how many men you are dating, or you have dated X, Y, and Z, or like questions that arises when a woman wants to contest are far different from questions that arises when a man wants to contest. Because nobody goes to a man and say, you've dated, you were married before, you divorced that ex, you know what I mean? Like, how do you confront a situation like that?
That is the problem that most women who contest faces, and I think it has been captured also in the study. But then we continue to educate. And I think it's not diminishing, but it is minimizing from where we came from, because in the past there was never a woman who has actually expressed interest to contest the presidency, and it happened, and now we have seen the numbers even doubling.
It's increasing significantly.
It is.
Now, currently, I think we have 2 people who wants to contest.
We have about 3.
About 3.
Yeah, because you have Fatou Diamane, you have Marisol, and you have the former vice president.
Yes, and there's significantly symbolic.
Yes. So I'm sure others will come as we get into the 2026 presidential election. So what this is trying to tell us is that it's changing. But as we know, beliefs and practices, especially sociocultural beliefs and practices, takes time to change. I mean, we still keep advocating, we still keep educating, and and I think also the media is very powerful in this, because the profiles of women, the way that we put it together needs to change. We need to promote just like the men does. But it is changing. It is still here. It's not going away. But I'm sure in 2026, 2027 electoral cycle, it's going to be very interesting.
Do you think we will have a female president in the country in the short term? Or maybe in the long term?
Why not?
Because we do have.
Sometimes when we
have at every level now. So we have a mayor, we have a National Assembly member, we have councillors.
So we can have a woman president.
It's the only thing we don't have.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes America a while up till now.
Yes.
But at least other countries like Finland, like even the European Union, some organizations, and even in England where I studied, we had, and the time that I was studying, that was the time that Margaret Thatcher was there. And we have, after Margaret Thatcher, we have so many that has come and occupied the prime minister's seat. So why not? We can. And just a while ago, we lost the Queen, who was the head of the British Empire.
Yeah.
So, and interestingly, before, history has told us that even in the Gambia, women used to be rulers.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, Ghana has nation to her.
Yeah. And then at even in the Central and Eastern Africa, women used to be rulers. In the Gambia, Wulanding Jasi from Busumbala.
Egypt, Queen Nefertiti.
Yeah. I mean, we had queens who were here. We have the Lingers of the Sinsalum.
Yes.
You know, and they used to occupy seats or be in forums with men, and they made decisions. I mean, if you look at the demanding charter, the Kurugan Fuga, women were given roles to play at the height, at the top of where decisions are made. So why not? We can. It's just that when the white men came, most of these things disappeared. But I mean, it's coming back, and the Gambia is changing with the democracy, even though it's fragile and very young as well. I mean, we can see women coming up.
Great.
I'm hopeful.
Thank you so much, Tabu, for stopping by.
Thank
and
you.
I hope this would not be the last time we'll have you here. So we'll have to have you many times as possible, and also to increase from our own from our own angle, that of women participation in this studio, because you're the first we had on this show. I remember Madi called me and expressed concern one time that, well, I think if this continues, they will say that the Verified is a men's show. And I said, God forbid we wouldn't do that.
And I will be one of the very first one who will point that out, because I always point out how many men are on the board. How many men? Is there any woman? But I'm happy.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being there, and have a great weekend. And also do subscribe to our channel and share our content for more viewing. And we'll see again next week, Saturday. Thank you. Have a good day.